he can now step up, if he can rise to the occasion as we've seen him do so many times before, maybe they can break the trend of that 90%.
I do get a bit worried as well. Although Train is certainly a CT-sided map, if you have a bad start and your economy's in the bin, it can be a really brutal side. So if Extra Salt get a good start here in the pistol, things could slip away pretty quickly. PKL has to be careful. He's going to get pushed on. That's a good grenade. Decent damage on 3 players. OC taking the brunt of it. Shrapnel in his kneecaps. And 4 players in total have been tagged. Now paiN starting to hemorrhage a little bit themselves. Big Azera tagged out at 32. He pulled off a 1v2 clutch earlier on Inferno to keep them alive, but he may have to go above and beyond here. Safe, though, does have a good rotational play as the flank comes in, tapping at range, takes down a couple of players, but everyone around him is dying. And Big Azera, the first player to take damage for the Brazilians, is the last to stand. He is at least getting the element of surprise behind the site, but he's been plucked out by JT. And Extra Salt, they claim first blood again.
I still remember one of the first times I saw like at least the core of this roster when playing under the likes of Bravado before they eventually moved on to Cloud9. And it was after having a really poor CT side versus G2 and then managing to put, I think it was more than 10 rounds over on the T side of this map. So Extra Salt, it's something you mentioned. Like if you get off to a slow start when on that CT side, you really can struggle. Well, Extra Salt, I think could definitely put up numbers on the T side.
Oh, I have no doubt about that at all. I think historically Train's like actually a pretty damn CT-sided map, but I feel like recently a lot of T-sides getting a lot more success. B-site here, as is so often the case, pretty easy to get onto, especially when you know that the opposition doesn't have too much utility to play with. So none of those Molotovs, but a big headshot from Big Azera. Takes a flash just afterwards, can hold in position and wait for the rest of the troops to arrive, or perhaps he'll just take the fight to them single-handedly. Safe's also gone in for 2. Doubling up on 2 players, JT spins into action with 1, but without a Molotov, he can't bank it off the wall, and he's all alone. They're tickling the bomb, drawing out into the open. They have no kits. Maybe he can deny the bomb planter, but other than that, it's just going to fall into position. paiN actually take the round, and only Harjao is a casualty in the entire process. I cannot believe that's just happened, Tom.
Well, I think that's a big trend breaker as well, because I remember a stat from the last map saying that if you win the pistol, there was a conversion rate of something like 14 out of 14 for both of these teams. So the fact that they've actually managed to win one of these 4 spy rounds could be something that completely changes the game, especially because it gives them the economy we were talking about. They now step up with an SMG they saved alongside 3 rifles. And on the other side of things, we're looking at Deagles and a solitary AK on JT.
Quite interesting that it's on JT as well. I don't doubt the guy's ability, but he's typically not going to be their heavy fragger, their star player, as it were. So, will that work? Fang just takes the Deagle. Maui said to watch out for him, and so far he's lived up to that mantle. That's a big frag at that. Mac 10 also picked up at range. PKL trying to use the AK against the oncoming Ts. 3 players to watch out for. Amaki's put him out of his misery. Surely we're not going to have back-to-back 4 spies being successful, but that seems to be the case.
This looks impossible now, especially with the pincer onto the site from both Ivy and wrapping through, because Azera is giving it a damn good try. 2 kills found, but the chance of the other 3 are so slim. Trying to fall back into a slightly more passive position, maybe give him the chance to actually bring something into the next round, and I think that's all he can really hope for, as the afterplant will eventually come through. But you can see Extra Salt being very, very careful, and actually, after clearing all these angles, they're taking so long, he's going to be able to reposition.
Yeah, you think the reposition may afford him to get another kill. He was a bit unfortunate. Had he have connected that insta headshot, that would have been the bomb spilling down. Instead, that element of surprise has now been taken away from him. And the Brazilian that has started very well indeed on 5-1 just has to back off with his 2 kills in the round and save the Deagle and the Galil. Now, when you have a look at the economy, you did touch on this before, Tom. Because they had that massive boost in finances, they could actually buy into the next round. And with Harjao the only player without enough money, means that Big Azera can drop across to him. They can actually come back with a decent enough buy. So it's all hope's not lost yet for paiN. It's a disappointing round, make no mistake, but they can come straight back into this.
Yeah, the only problem really is the fact that the loss bonus makes it a little bit off. Especially for the CT side, like you might have a kit or 2 missing, a player without head armor, or even just a lack of utility. And Train is another one of those maps where, especially for the CT side, I feel like your utility on the A site has to be so good. Like you need early incendiaries. That's a must. You don't want to allow your opposition to get out of A main, take Olaf control, and make things awkward for you. So you need all that extra utility. And for that matter, that's why we have a FAMAS. We have a Scout, in fact, a couple of FAMAS in play at the moment, and then the Galil. It's only one player, Bigazera, who actually has what we might consider a full buy.
Yeah, and even Safe is like dipping his toe in the water. He's not fully committing. He's holding on to $2,000 so he can get an AWP quicker. Good shot onto Marky, though. Down to 12, he will fall. But it does feel like they're not all fully investing into the round. Everyone apart from Safe went for it. Still enough, though, to post up a bit of a threat, especially if Extra Assault aren't careful. They have plenty of utility left, though. They got smokes, they got mollies, they got flashes. And I'm expecting to see them tossed in for a set play soon.
They're taking their time. I think realizing that chances are there will be some sort of investment here from paiN, not wanting to just give up the force buy wars just yet, but the fact is it would be far more catastrophic if it was the Brazilians to lose in this battle. The push going to come onto the site. Flashbang's going through, but it's left a lot of players blind. In fact, the T's themselves struggling. JT will fall within the smoke. PKL has picked off another. It's only Sonic finally trading. Will he spot Bigazera? He does. However, it might be too little too late. They have lost far too many members on this push, and there's only so much Sonic can do.
Oh, Marky finally, he was looking to get the AK, got kind of wrecked by the train, and Safe takes him out. So back to back force buys. And now paiN Gaming, they're on the home stretch, and it's not like Extra Assault can really do anything about it.
Yeah, these are the sort of games as well. It's so difficult to call anything in terms of how this is going to go. As said, it's far worse for paiN if they were to lose this. That's just a fact. Financially, it would put them in a far worse spot. And realistically, you do want to put more rounds up on the CT side. Although, to go back to your earlier point, in the match we saw previously, where it was a 16-13 victory for Extra Assault, they got 11 rounds of those on the T side. And paiN got 9 of theirs on the T side as well. So, if anything, we might have to look at this as a T-side map of train, even if that might not necessarily be the norm.
The timing on that incendiary, just absolutely brutal. I'm surprised that Hards Out even goes for that peak, because you're just losing a weapon fairly needlessly. I get you want to get the round over and done with, but that loss of life was completely avoidable, especially as there's a rotation player coming in, but they only lose 1. Extra Assault, though, will be right back to the drawing board, and even in the context of this buy, Tom, I mean, it's not going to be ideal. 2 players dropping down to AKs at the cost of much utility. They both got 1 smoke. There's no smokes on Sonic. No AWP in play yet for either team. It's been that kind of a scrappy start to the map.
Again, we're going to see the same grenades thrown in. Neck is looking to try and get aggressive. I don't know if they've spotted a pixel of him. The flashbang's good. He's completely blind, but nobody actually capitalizes on it. He will eventually fall, but Bigazera, again, so aggressive in the way he goes for these trades, eventually is punished. Now, with 3 players surviving still, the problem is that Marky's timed his peak almost perfectly, and the remaining 2 players have to almost pull out hero plays. Hards Out tries his best, but eventually they all fall. Again, though, they're not completely tapped out of this. I think we might see another buy.
Oh, yeah, everyone can buy apart from Hardzao, so he may have to bite the bullet here. No, they actually managed to juggle across some weapons, so I think Hardzao may have an M4. He did have it briefly. Oh, he's just passing it to another teammate. So that's 2 AWPs and a 5.7. Now, having those 2 AWPs does cost them a little bit in terms of utility. They've got enough elsewhere, and it's going to be another very fast play. This is actually a great counter to having double AWPs. You just push straight out, get in their face, toss a whole bunch of smokes and flashes in, but you've got to follow it up correctly. HE is decent, shreds a few players, but they're still going to be pushing out all the same. Through the smoke, into the flashes, they will pounce, and OC gets the better of Bigazera, not before he puts down Sonic, though.
Save is desperately trying to find an angle, but it's OC and then Neckers to trade things back. It has turned into almost a pub-style brawl. OC's going to swing the final chair and leave the man knocked out on the deck. Fang, all his friends have fallen. If he could take down the AWP, it might actually make things interesting. And although he's walking backwards, the timing could work out for him eventually. Although PKL now wraps further around the corner. It's a ring around the Rosie, and he's got himself into a hidden peak. But the AWP scope could give him away, and it will. That's enough information for Fang to surely get this kill. He has to almost peek into the angle, but that gives him the 1v1. A rifle retrieved as well for Hardsell as he faces back in, and he will land the headshot. It's another round for paiN. It's an AWP retrieved. And again, look at the money of the T side.
Oh, back and forth. I thought that aggressive style of round was going to yield so much success over on Extra Salt, dealing with the double ups and putting them in very uncomfortable positions, but it's almost like they never fully got out of the starting blocks. Like, they just kind of tripped over a little bit when they were trying to push out initially. Now they've gone back in for a force because they know that paiN Gaming are on the brink again. So yeah, we're in the same position. We're in a force buy with 2 AKs and pistols. Not ideal, but we've seen much worse buys than this come out successful.
Yeah, and again, it's the utility that's taking the hit for paiN. So sure, they've got smokes, but they have no incendiaries left. They're all gone. And already OC, he's been phenomenal on these entries. PKO or FAMAS is just not going to work in this sort of situation. He needs to hit a pretty tasty spray, and he's already gone. I'm not sure I could cope with much more of this, Vince. So much back and forth. It's been almost a dirty game of Train. I feel like they need to clean the rims and fix some of the wheels.
It's like one of those trains that you just see that's got graffiti all over it in the middle of this old train yard. That's how it feels.
Any train in London.
Exactly. Any train in the Northeast as well. It's pretty grim. It's not over just yet, but it is seemingly like paiN have pulled the plug. They're not interested. I say that. His Neckers just goes for a wide swing, and Big Azera's actually moving in. It's almost like they do want to go for this still. I'm not sure what the idea was there from paiN Gaming, but they've conceded so much for it, and now more weapons can trade hands, and Extra Salt are just going to be that much more powerful going into the next round.
Yeah, I'm not sure the decision there was the right one. And as I mentioned already, like, I guess if you look at this from paiN's perspective, if they're confident in their T side, maybe these are worthy risks. But looking at it as a normal map of Train, like, you want to keep your economy stronger, especially now that they're forcing back into this once again. I'm genuinely starting to wonder if we're ever going to get a full buy round. I could see this whole half just being this back and forth at this stage, because we're already over halfway through it.
Yeah, and scrappy buy rounds like this and maps will normally favor the Ts. They have much better odds of getting cheaper weaponry up there. Already run and gun onto Big Azera. Neckers on the back of the site, stuck in position, using that smoke to his advantage, but finally he will get put down through it. Marky aggressive through on Pop Dog. Good flick to the head of Hardshao. Nice reaction timing on that, and safe. Well, he already wants to just hold on to this AWP. So Extra Salt have just got the bomb planted down. Couple players could justify chasing in for potentially taking the AWP out, but JT and Sonic are a bit worse for wear. He gets stuck on the wall, and JT will punish him and trade up to the AWP. Now, finally, we have a team that with the better buy has come out successful, and surely this is their opportunity to start to make some real steam ahead for themselves.
Yeah, this seemed like an almost like underground fight thus far, like bare knuckles, just trying to beat each other down for the longest time, and finally one of them has had to submit. And as I said, unfortunately for paiN, this leaves them in a far worse spot than they'd ever want to be in, because even if last time they managed to get 9 rounds, firstly, it wasn't enough, and secondly, can they do that again? Now, OC, just phenomenal with the Glock to get that much done, but Hardtail's not going to feel too bad about this. He's unknowingly also got control of the bomb, but it doesn't end up working out. The AWP will be saved, and eventually it's only really 2 guns lost, which, considering there was nothing really invested for paiN, that's not bad, but for Extra Salt, they had to cash anywhere after the ridiculous amount of force buys we've seen.
Yeah, and I think one of them was also a FAMAS, so it's almost like you want to trade up the FAMAS as soon as possible anyway, so it's effectively only 1 premium rifle they ended up losing. So that's a decent trade, all things considered. Could have got a lot scrappier had it have not been for OC's excellent sidearm work. I believe this may be a technical issue between the 2 teams, so hopefully that will be remedied shortly. But we finally get a chance, Tom, to kind of sit back on our chairs and relax a little bit, because it's not necessarily been the greatest Counter-Strike, but my God, has it been entertaining.
And they're just like, hey, wait, you won 2 rounds in a row. That wasn't part of the deal. We were supposed to go back and forth the whole way. Yeah, it's been peculiar. And it's one of those games as well where, in terms of, well, I was going to say background analysis, in terms of like the guys who are going to have to break this one down, it's going to be difficult because a lot of it revolved around just A main aggression with some good flashbangs from Extra Salt. And that was the only real factor that they had. They were just running the same execute again and again and again. And to be fair to them, they were getting quite a lot of success from it. So I can't really blame them thus far. And well, there you go. The lowest buy anyone won a round, excluding 1 and 16 with on Inferno. So basically, the complete opposite of what we've seen in this match already. I think we've had quite a few in this one.
Yeah, we must have had at least 4 rounds where the team that was basically forcing and had no money left actually somehow made it work. We had Extra Salt with 2 AKs and Deagles just rushed B site successfully. We had a couple of rounds in similar situations for paiN. We had like 5-7s from Pop Dog winning out. So it has been like a dirty boxing match, as you said, like one of those games that sometimes you can't necessarily look at because you have to grimace a little bit, but that morbid curiosity gets the better of you and you look back anyway.
I'm hoping for paiN as well, though. This is the other problem. Like, you have your star player, someone that we've been talking about this whole tournament as an AWPer. Now, we are yet to really see it. There was one round where I believe they got a double AWP setup in, and it did work relatively well for them. They end up holding the line and winning the round. But because of the investments that they've run so far, the chances of them even getting it in again seem to fall in a couple of rounds' time, unless they win this next round with the pure rifles. So say they do continue to lose these rounds, they're going to be stuffed for getting their best player on an AWP. And yeah, fair enough if maybe you're looking at an Inferno, maybe a Vertigo even, based on how they play. You could argue that, okay, that might not be such a flaw, but on something like Train, that's where I don't agree with it at all. Like the risks that are being taken, the force buys that are coming in, eventually it had to get to the point where you're like, okay, we want to make sure Safe has an AWP because, you know, he's pretty good with it.
Well, OC has been phenomenal with the AWP. And speaking of the man, he's rushed straight out by himself. There was a molly behind him, so it isolated him from JT, but picking up the pace the second we get back into the game. That is an AWP that gets spilled down, though, and that could be significant now for Extra Salt because 3 of the 4 players are clumped up in Ivy. Such an important kill, but it goes the way of the T's.
Oh, JT. He's got the bomb. Now, it's ended up as a really weird scenario. First, your AWP being isolated. Now, the bomb being isolated. Safe, doing a decent job, but it's Fang. Again, highlighted on the desk initially. Doing a great job in this game. It's been him and OC, the players to watch. Hard's out trying to turn the tide, and the dink connected, but the second bullet won't quite land. I'm not sure I necessarily agree with the plan from Extra Salt, but the execution through Ivy definitely went very well indeed. It's the initial peak, like even if you did have JT there, that's your AWPer and the bomb running out main. Like that doesn't seem like the greatest plan of all time, especially they were a lot earlier than the players who were looking to try and push out Ivy. I just think the timing was quite far off this round.
It was far off, but fortunately had Fang with some beautiful entry frags. Speaking of which, JT's just rushed straight out. It was a scout that tagged him. If I had been the AWP, he'd have 100% gone down as a centre mass shot. And JT goes in for double and triple as well. Runs out first, bags all the frags, and Sonic, the other South African element, will be chipping in for one of his own. Will it be a South African clean sweep, though? Or will Safe spoil the party? He's down to 32. They know exactly where he is, and there is Sonic. A full house of frags for the South Africans. JT with 3, and Sonic with 2.
I think it's evident now that Extra Salt have realized there is absolutely no point going B. Like we have just seen this is basically turned into just a retake server. Like it just like, okay, we're just battling for the A site consistently. We're not even gonna imagine that the other side of the map even exists. Or maybe you could call it a wingman map. Might make more sense. But either way, it's just gonna be a continued rush straight away. But maybe they are trying to bait them in here. He's just gonna fly straight down the ramp. Hard's out though, finally stops them. But again, well, they tried to go B. Really, Fang? Really? What is this Fang, thanks?
Yep, so stats helix on this one then. Blair and Maui, yeah.
Please, break this I want Blair. DreamHack, make Blair break down this round.
Yeah, that was a head scratcher. You know, we'll give Extra Salt one of those per half. It didn't work out quite as well as I was hoping for. Hearts Out, to be fair to him, did have a great double spray. If he goes down to the second player, B-Site could have became Extra Salts, and then we're talking about an entirely different prospect for the rest of the round. It didn't happen. 8-5 already though, but paiN Gaming, they've got double ups again. They did have good success with this earlier on, but already players pushing straight past main, and OC drills Nekis with his AWP.
Good start once again. And they've been getting so many openers on this A site. I almost feel like they put that one in as a palate cleanser. A fast push into the B site to still force them to at least dedicate someone there. Safe Sort will find a response, but he's quickly removed once again. And the shots on the man on top are just not working out. JT has had a fantastic couple of rounds. Puts himself right near the top. PKL has found one back, but it's JT all the way, and Sonic chimes in alongside him once again. 9 rounds already for Extra Salt. And while the CT side, they'll have another purchase going into this one, but at this stage, it's already the half one. It's just whether or not paiN are going to have a solid T side as well.
Yeah, just whether they hit double digits or not, really. And who's to say they wouldn't? These A executes have been sublime. It just felt like they were getting the eye in early on. They were there or thereabouts multiple times, and paiN's individual skill was just getting them across the finish line. Sonic baiting down on Pop Dog. No one is home, so he'll be moving into position. And understandably, that paiN have stacked 4 players on A. I mean, it's been hit so many times, why wouldn't you? But it's a bit of a slower take. They're not just rushing out this time, they're pushing main now, and they're going to have those components of Pop Dog with flashes behind it. AWP shot does connect, but partially through the wall. Fan gets hit a second time, but OC now up to the plate to deliver one in return, and Safe has to fall back onto the site, but there's a Molotov down in connector. So the time being, he's all alone. The flick up is good, but Marky on the approach takes him down, and Sonic seals the deal. 10-5 at halftime to Extra Salt. They're very close to securing the second map.
Down, 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 you can knock me down, but I will get up fighting, ain't no tapping out. Hit me with another, and I won't make a sound, cause I keep getting stronger with every single round. Soul, and he's come far, living alone, and stood proud. He's gonna show the world. He's got gold down in his bones, and he don't care. Warming his hands up, a big deal, king of his own domain. He's not giving up without a war. Down, 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 you can knock me down, but I will get up fighting. Ain't no tapping out. Hit me with another, and I won't make
It was a back and forth at least to start, and maybe a fairly one-dimensional T-side from Extra Salt, but their A-main pushes worked out wonderfully, and they've managed to get themselves 10 rounds on the T-side. Now, the last time they played, paiN also managed to get 9 on their T-side, but they're going to have to go one better this time.
Well, Tom, I thought you were watching Vertigo for a second there, and I realized it's in a couple maps' time. We may need it because the third map's Mirage, so if it goes to 3-0, we may not see it after all. Sonic up close, though, with a CZ and puts 2 bullets through PKL's head. Looking for more and gets it. He may have enough time for the reload and draws them out into the open. How is he still alive? How has he got another kill? And the 4th as well. Sonic is dodging bullets somehow, some way. But bigazera is still in this. He's picked up 3 of his own, and Sonic gets an ace. How has he survived that, Tom?
Magic. It is the only explanation that's acceptable in this. I don't know. I don't know how he doesn't get traded. I think a decent nade came in to slow them down, like just as he was stuck in this corner. Like, he was so clinical from the initial, but then this, I think a nade drops just in front, and I don't know if it shrouded their vision slightly, but whatever it was, it gave enough. And then, well, let's put it this way. I wish my Glock worked like that, because it definitely doesn't. Either way, they've got the pistol. Now, I'm having some sort of like Nam flashbacks here after what happened in the first half. I'm hoping that it's not going to be happening again. It is only Glocks, 1 deagle for Neckers. You know, Vince, what could possibly go wrong?
Oh, he's gone and done it. He's gone and done it. Tom knows exactly what he's doing there. We'll see, though. We'll see if Neckis can get it done. Flashbang into peak, no one home. Oh, there was actually JT. Spots Neckis, who goes for the peak, and that deagle's now down. And it's in an awkward position. Did it drop between the bins? Is that why it took them so long? And JT's took the head off of PKL as well. Maybe stop peeking the guy that's in this kind of form, paiN Gaming. I understand you want frags, and there you go. You finally got one, but it's at the cost of 3. Make it 4 players, and the round will be taking shape more or less the way we expected.
Vince, the caster curse is just a frame of mind. It isn't real.
True.
I have no power here.
100% true.
Oh. Nice round from JT, but ultimately, that's it. $700 were invested. That was mainly just because of the kills that came in the previous round. A little bit extra spent. But now we need to see a response, and that's the fact of it. It was a sort of close affair in the early stages of this match, but it has since been dominant for Extra Salt. And now with a pistol win, they are all but set to close out their map choice. I didn't expect it to be this dominant. I didn't expect them to do as well as they have. And for paiN, well, they might not get much of a T-side whatsoever. They might not get to show us what they've got. Hansa's got to be careful here, because there are a couple of aggressive players trying to take some ground. Of course, you have to bear in mind that this is somewhat of a bonus, although there has been a piece or 2 repurchased for Extra Salt. So realistically, the SMGs are not going to be too viable in a lot of positions, so they have to try and take some control.
Yeah, I just love that aggression with the SMG up close from Marquis. So much intel. You can hear if they run up towards the shower side, towards Pop Dog. If they push in main, they have to walk into his arms. That's early information. It's this early safety net. Alarm bell gets tripped. An Extra Salt can move in accordingly. Also, aggressive positions up on B site. Marquis hearing footsteps. Turns his back, expecting the flash. Still connects the shot. Loses no health. Another flash is tossed in. Does nothing towards him. And now look at how much support he has. The support structure is set up on top of the train so that even if Marquis goes down, they should be able to deal with him. The kill from Safe, though, did turn their attention elsewhere and allows them to divide and conquer outside. Now, OC is the last bastion of hope, but it's the FAMAS that tags Safe down to 7, who's now been finished off by Fang. But 2-on-2 with 15 seconds to spare, but there is a flanking element in play. Marquis is moving around the back of them. 12 seconds. They still need to get the bomb down.
Bomb has been planted.
This is such a solid read from Neckers, though. He expects him to make that move, and Hearts Out, all he has to do is kill off the remaining man. That was almost incredible stuff. Like, they knew where Marquis was because of the initial kills, and for him to completely reposition and Neckers to read it is spot on. It gives them a 6th. And for Extra Salt, as said, they spent a little bit of extra cash over the last round, so the buy here is just not going to be optimal. So they'll wait. They'll be patient. They've got plenty of rounds to play with.
Exactly. buffer of rounds, no great rush, no great issue. Next round, other than Sonic, everyone else should be completely fine with a healthy dosage of whatever they so choose. And who knows, maybe with the USPs, if they can take a rifle or two away, that may very well be worth it. Zhao tries to spin in, gets 3. It's a decent effort. So considering he was completely alone there. But with the AK now in the hands of JT, maybe they can do a little bit more damage. Fang still alive for way too long as far as Nekis is concerned, and he gets tagged again on the cross and finished off by JT. Now, JT, very unlikely to win the round, but he's already done enough damage with 2. That's 2 AKs that are taken away from the Brazilians, and any more at this point is a nice cherry on top. He may even think about positioning in a spot where he could just pull back to save this AK. It would bolster up his buy into the next round, so paiN have got to charge him down, and if they don't, he takes an AK. If they do, there's a chance he hurts them even more.
Well, Big Azira is at least going to deny that, and I think it's important as well, considering that that could have been the replacement for the weapon that will likely be missing. Probably, well, let's be real, it's probably not going to be on Sonic. I imagine someone else is going to take the hit instead, but he's the one with less cash. So we'll look at the buyer coming in, and I imagine, yeah, there's going to be one player. It'll be Marky, in fact. He dropped an AWP, so straight in with the double AWP for extra salt. We'll see if there's going to be a similar style in terms of paiN. Straight in with a nade stack, and actually Sonic has bitten the bullet, or the HE, you could say, as he's going to be left on just 24 HP within basically 10 seconds.
They've tagged down quite a bit. They think they could have afforded AWP, so decided against it. And there's another nade. 13 HP remains. So he receives a worse battering than Sonic did early on. And now Marky, the good guy that dropped the AWP and put himself down to a FAMAS that has no utility, goes into familiar territory. Was here with the MP9 earlier on. Now we're shimmying in with the FAMAS. They may line up for Zhao. And if they do, this could prove to be such a catastrophe for Extra Salt. With low Sonic, only 1 bullet will finish him off, but he's changed up his angles. He's not going to peek. He's more going to watch the close angle and bait and switch in Marky here.
Oh, there goes Sonic. Now, Marky played this exact angle last round, and they expect it this time. Hards out, starting off strong. Exactly what they needed going into this CT half, and now the remaining players have a decision to make. It looks like they're going to try and hold down the fort on A. The B site is going to be left completely open. They'll have to start hitting some shots, and that's not a bad start. The problem is the trade, but OC, he's brought things back. They'll have to do it all. A 1 versus 3 to try and close out this round, and the likelihood looking slim.
Yeah, somewhere between slim and none, but maybe the percentage is now starting to go more towards his favor. 3 kills, safe on 13 HP, is going to get up close and personal. And this is where the AWP will suffer. It will struggle. OC's been baited out. He hears the weapon, and Safe will put him down. Excellent try from OC. Really nice effort, but ultimately it was a bridge too far.
And now as well, they've got to make sure that they save up all the extra cash that they can to make sure that that AWP is going to be in play once again, because as said, that was one of the main issues I had with the CT side coming out from paiN, is that they almost hindered themselves by the fact that they denied their AWP from actually having his weapon of choice. The issue is, even with the extra loss bonus into the next, it might not be the secondary AWP, at least. If there is, it will probably be glass cannon. Now Marky's trying to hit headshots through a wall with a USP. If he had managed it, mine would have been blown, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that's unlikely.
And even if he did, it would be like 3 damage. It's like probably more of a nuisance than anything else, wondering what's going on. A death by 1,000 paper cuts, perhaps. Zhao tries to land the 1 tap, not really forthcoming. And we are getting into that kind of territory where, assuming that paiN don't completely collapse here against full USPs, and they take a 9th round, they are actually getting dangerously close to Extra Salt again. We're actually having a T half here that is exuding quite a bit of confidence and a lot of competence. So although Extra Salt still have the round advantage, still are looking good and pretty, it won't take long with a bit of success here on the Brazilians to turn this around and put it into a really dangerous territory. The CTs, they're taking a little bit of damage, but it's starting to spill out, and this is where the superior firepower should shine brightest. It should just lock this down without any issues at all and take paiN into a 9th.
Oh, any extra costs would be beneficial, and they're doing a pretty decent job. 2 guns dropped. Of course, the T side still have plenty of cash to be able to repurchase, but it's something at least. And now we do come up with that buy. OC able to get himself that AWP, and don't think we're going to be seeing a second one unless Marky makes the change. So I think Sonic maybe getting caught out the last time they attempted it made it not worth the risk for the amount of utility that they would lose in response. Odds gone ridiculously in the favor of Extra Salt, which is actually quite surprising because, as you said, both of these teams showing ability on the T side the prior time that they played, and well, over the last few rounds at least, it's been all paiN.
Yeah, the only 2 rounds of the CT that Salt picked up was the pistol in the subsequent round when rifles have been coming in. They've actually been second best. Oh, that flick from OC, though. Just nail safe. Couldn't even react in time. Hardjow, well played. Dealing with the flash that came in and actually did more harm to the CTs than good, and he's actually trying to smoke himself into a good position. They push the smoke, and they push into their demise. Now, he will get picked off, but they're already hitting B site. The bomb's not with them just yet, though, and that may afford Extra Salt a chance to maneuver their way in.
I don't know if they'll expect Bigazera to be this close, though. That's the problem. He's made his way through into CT. You can see JT is spotting for it, but it's almost similar to last round. The only way this really bites them is if Bigazera doesn't spot him either, and he somehow manages to thread the needle and deny the plant, which I really don't see happening. I think he even made a little bit of noise, and JT actually does win the duel. Now the bomb has to be a little bit hesitant, making its way onto the site, but Nekis wins the battle that was necessary. It is, however, left onto OC. Last time he tried to 1v5, he ended up with 3. This time, there's only 2 remaining.
Would be for the 3K as well, though. Last time he got caught by Safe up close as he scoped in. It may happen again on Oil. He's being pushed from his left-hand side. The timing affords him safe passage pass, but Nekis has spotted him. Sprays to play the mind games. Notice how he didn't want to go for the knife, though. He didn't, like on the hierarchy of BM, that's just underneath the knife, but he still got him.
I'm not going to risk it that much. I won't give him enough time to turn around, but I do rate it. But again, like, we're seeing the punishment of this CT side. Some of the things that we saw like glimpses of on the T side, where just over-aggression ends up biting them in the back. So again, the streak of rounds continues. It's looking like the last map, but if anything, paiN, it seems like the momentum is just pushing them forward. Again, it's going to be an easy opener. JT's spot is one of the most common in anti-eco rounds, so I wouldn't be surprised if they try and hard clear this. And while Safe just picking them apart, but JT does actually manage to get a kill.
If only his arms were a little bit longer. There we go. He's finally got it. Fang up on top of the train. It's been spotted, but still puts the bullet in and nearly doubles up. PKL going to feel a little bit fortunate that he didn't also get picked off there. That would have been a huge passage of play for Extra Salt. They're still in with a shot. Their scout would be an insta-kill into PKL if it does connect with OC. The other 2 players are healthy. There's that AK alongside them, and JT who sprays in. He has no Kevlar, so aim punch will be an issue, and there's a Molotov. That could be the win condition. Already a ton of time has came down. There's no smokes and no kits available for Extra Salt, so even if they are successful onto Hardjow, the chances of winning this are so minuscule. JT gets caught as he pushes to the side. There's the Molotov. There's the win secured in the bag. And OC sees if he can try and take some of these players out with him, because they will have a bye to the next round. And although he tags Hardjow, is there enough time for the bomb to detonate? They may just get away with this in time. They will. Nice try from Extra Salt, but paiN Gaming, they've slithered their way back to just a 1-round deficit now.
This is scary stuff. Like, we were looking at what, like a 12-5, I want to say.
Yeah, it was.
So you got 6 rounds in a row now for the T side, and not really anything other than the pistol that we saw from Extra Salt. As said, this is similar to what happened last time, but now there's no more excuses. You've even got an AUG for Fang. You've got double AWPs. You've got everything you could possibly desire. Oh, I think Sonic, after the pick comes in on his teammate, realizes, okay, I don't have to play risky anymore, but JT, okay, he assumes the position's still clear and loses his life because of it. And now Sonic is tagged low as well. It was looking so good in the early stages of this round for Extra Salt, and now, if anything, they have a disadvantage.
Extra Salt are coming apart at this seems here, Tom. Even with the pick, Sonic had such a good angle, and must realize once he backs away from there, it leaves him a bit vulnerable. And JT seemed to be completely oblivious to the fact that Ivy could be pushed into. So Sonic gets dropped to 35 off high ordnance off those HEs, throws in the incendiary towards Pop Dog, and there's the smoke as well, which will quell any longer range incursions. Flashbang comes out. Marky picked up the first frag of the round, but he's now been put down to 46. Sonic misses his shot. These are shots they would have been connecting before. And now the tides of Counter-Strike are starting to sweep away Extra Salt. It came in way quicker than anticipated. The post plant is looking likely. There's no way he can stop him with that HE. And now Extra Salt only have OC. I say only OC. He has been the player that has been most consistent on both sides, but I feel like he probably doesn't want to overstay his welcome. He has the AWP, he's got a bit of utility, but the lack of kit's a problem. There is one down just behind the bomb, but I think he understands the importance of saving the AWP here.
Yeah, the only problem I'm seeing is that at the moment, at least, I feel like he's never really in the right place at the right time. Like the picks that are coming through almost just end up being exit frags for a lot of the time. And of course, he's got to save the AWP. Of course, it's the right play to make. But I want to see this man at the forefront of their defense. And at this stage, I feel like this was a round, like you look at the first 20, 30 seconds and you'd almost bet on Extra Salt to win it, but things just slip away. Players being caught without gun in hands, taking risky peeks, and safe. He's hitting every shot that's given to him, but at this stage, you almost have to feel there should be a counter, especially on a map you choose. Again, something else brought up on the desk. If you're picking Train, you should be winning Train, especially against a team that has played it once this year.
Exactly it. And the one time they played Train was against you. So you even have some of that sort of intel about how they occupy the server, how they play.
Well, again, it's not going to be an investment. Now, OC can buy an AWP in the next round no matter what happens here. So I want to see something aggressive. I want to see him get up in the face of his opponent, try and put that skill to use, because there's no doubt he's hitting everything at the moment. Sonic probably about to go for something incredibly risky, but doesn't really have much to lose, and it works out. He even gets the AK. That is the jammiest thing I think I've ever seen. The timing couldn't be better, but just the AK dropping perfectly. You know, most times that would have flown into the abyss.
Imagine now the Extra Salt win off that AK, Tom. Just they've got an AWP, they've got Deagle for Fang, and Sonic can actually throw that across to him eventually because he's got no Kevlar right now. They've got a pick, they hit and run, they pull back. They've got a lot of utility on OC as well. The only thing they're lacking right now is a kit. But that may not be required if they hold the line. They've already put 3 players over on B site. They're anticipating that B is going to be the final destination. Will the gamble pay off? These smokes and Molotovs may very well draw away a player, but they're not budging an inch. They're not falling for this just yet.
Or was that on purpose? I don't know if he was trying to bait sound. It seems like he might have been, because it looks like they're going to try and rotate back in the other direction. However, I don't think anyone was close enough. That's so risky from Fang. Maybe he did get a wrong call somewhere along the line, but just swinging wide gives them a kill. And now look at the tease. They're going to go back to what they know. The bread and butter, the A-site hit, and there's 2 players waiting.
One of them is JT with the scout, and the other is OC with the AWP. So they could be walking into the gauntlet of sniper rifles. 14 seconds to go. Underneath the Train, he's tagged him, but he wasn't weakened. So Hard Zhao successfully plants the bomb down, only loses 38 HP. They're going up for the boost, but Big Azera's crosshair. He's already anticipating that. The timing is slightly off, but Hard Zhao, fortunate for paiN, was still watching it. Clamps down on the frag, and now suddenly things pivot heavily in favor of paiN once more. AK just about rips it off through OC, who still stands his ground, but the time is ticking away ever so quick, and without a kit, I don't think they can feasibly get this. They may have to try and turn out of this round and try and hold on. The fact that they even potentially escape, though, from this with an AWP and an AK is in itself a bit of a miracle, Tom.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. It's not bad at all, but that's what we've been saying in a lot of these rounds. Like, they're doing damage, they're making it costly, but they're not winning any of them. And I have to admit, I'm a little bit disappointed that we didn't see more from OC's AWP. This was the best play of the round, without a doubt. Like, this is ridiculous Zeus play. And OC's AWP was very passive. Now, it might have been the idea to save it, but as said, like, your loss bonus is now maximum. Like, he's still got 5,300 after buying. I feel like you could have taken more of a risk here.
And if you're not going to take risks before, then you'd like to see them maybe take a couple of risks here. Especially if you get down to the nitty-gritty, like 2v2, 3v3s. Obviously, at the start of the round, you probably don't want to take risks. Play to your weapons advantages. You've got double ops, you've got an AUG. You don't need to be playing too aggressively as a result of that. You can sit back and allow paiN to move their way in. But the entire dynamic, the entire feel of this map has shifted on its head. It went from being almost a formality. I think I signed off at halftime saying that Extra Assault are very close to taking the second map. And suddenly, look at us. With 13-12 and paiN have every chance of equalizing the best of 5 grand finals. But they're still not quite there. They still have to contend with an Extra Assault that, for my money, have taken their foot off the gas pedal. They got out the car, to be honest, Tom. They've left the car on the side of the road. And at any point, they can get back in. paiN have to realize that.
It's been 8 rounds in a row. This was a 12-5 scoreline. Now, for the first time in a while, it looks like we're about to see a hit towards B. Now, there's already a couple of players ready and waiting, both with weaponry that allows them to hold quite passive. The smokes will fall over, and Sonic is ready. First kill connected, but there's plenty more to be had.
Marky with the flank as well, but bigazera has him dead to rights. There's so much damage on the T's in only 23 seconds. Extra Assault may have done it. They're starting to spill out onto the site. It will be a post plant, but there's still a HE. There's an incendiary. And PKL, realizing he has to try and take a bit of a risk, is pushing out, but that's into his demise. Safe at the back of the site, trying to spin, pivot in for kills. And although there's a molly coming in, there's still so much time left. There's still kits on a few players. This molly's not really going to do much, then just be a bit of a nuisance. The second that bigazera goes for a peek, he's likely to just get picked off. Decent damage to Sonic, but you have the AUG peeking straight up there from Fang, and that is the round done. Only 1 loss, and they can trade up to an AK. That's an excellent result for Extra Assault.
Thing is, I feel like this is identical to what we saw in the first half, and that's why we've seen so many A takes. I feel like the B site defense and retakes have been actually okay from both sides. It's just both sides have also had incredibly weak A holds. So I don't know. I'm not sure if that's going to be the difference maker just yet. I want to see a proper A site execution from paiN, and then if Extra Assault can hold on to that, maybe I start to doubt the comeback from the Brazilians.
Oh, 2 kills right off the bat. Marky through the smoke, and Sonic gets 1, then tags a secondary player in Hard Jowl through on main. There's a whiffed smoke, I think, or a nade in amongst that, which kind of threw a cat amongst the pigeons, but Safe is tipped in with 2. He's been finished off, and Hard Jowl now comes in. So it's a 2v2 with the flanking from Fang on Pop Dog. You asked for the A-side hit, it came in, and so far, Extra Assault are looking good to hold the line. And what an important moment to post up that W.
It was still uncomfortable though, like
sure,
a 5-on-3 that went all the way back, and I feel like some of it's just like you get into this confident realm and then they start taking really high risks. Luckily for them, Marky was calm and collected, playing from above, and manages to just deny any further heroics from the remaining players of paiN. Heading into this round, they finally damaged the economy of paiN enough that it's looking a little bit rough. Now, PKO only has a pistol, but at the same time, he's not been having the best of game. I'll be real. He's not been the difference maker in this one. So we can take a look at the remaining players and say, okay, Safe still got his AWP. He's been great. bigazera and Hardzao still having rifles. So it's not necessarily going to be easy. And as said, some of the aggression we've witnessed from Extra Assault has let rounds slip away. So let's see, well, firstly, that we don't get ahead of ourselves, but also that they don't as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you've raised a very good point there. The Extra Assault have sometimes been their own worst enemy. We've seen the both sides of the coin in that respect. Some of the rounds have been won purely off aggression. Some have been lost purely from it. So you'd think that they realize that paiN's economy is probably not in fantastic shape. And as a result, they can sit back again. They've got the more superior sort of weaponry at range with the AWP and the organ play. And all they have to do is watch their angle. Safe, though, is getting aggressive. He gets shoulder peeked, well played. drawing out the shot, getting information. He would have seen both players there on Ivy, and there's only 38 seconds left on the clock. It stands to reason that's either a wraparound or it's likely going to be an A hit. So you don't need to take many players and put them on the B site. Big frag from Marky onto Big Azera. That's the one AK that goes down alongside him and weakens the firepower considerably. But on top of that, JT is going in, and as is Sonic. 2 players remain, 15 seconds on the clock. JT gets rattled by Nekis' Deagle, but then instantly he is suppressed by Marky, and safe is not long for this world afterwards. Extra Salt have 2 chances now to take the 2-0 lead in the grand finals.
And the real issue here is not so much that they've managed to get to 15, it's more the fact that the economy for paiN is in the bin. They risked it all, and now they're going to come back up with pistols and a MAC-10. Now, I'd like to see, again, something quick, something aggressive. The B-take will probably garner them an afterplant, but the chances of it winning them the round, I don't know. I think the retakes so far on B-site have been pretty good. But it does look like that's the direction they're going to go in. So PK out, he almost needs to W key all the way to the back of the site. And because of the aggression that's come in from Extra Salt, they've got a pretty good read.
Warp shots missed, but they know there's going to be a ton more players behind. It looks like it's the beginning of the end. Fang with the AUG up close, sprays in for a second frag. And where 2 have pushed in, the last 2 will not be too far behind them. Safe though with the Deagle, does at least put 1 bullet down range to the head, but finally he will succumb to his wounds, as will paiN Gaming. It was scrappier than I think we both thought